Today, we are breaking down this transition, moving from flip dog into wheel position. In order to do this transition, you need to be able to balance yourself on one arm, like a side plank, and spin on that hand into wheel position. If this is your first time trying this, or if you're still building on some strength, best to go really slow or have somebody spot you.
Begin in downward facing dog. Lift your right leg, open your hip. Drop the right foot behind you and start to spin on your supporting arm until the fingertips face to the center of your mat. Once the other arm makes it to the ground, you can adjust the original arm so that you find yourself in wheel position. To reverse these steps, turn that original post arm into center, spin around, and find yourself back in downward facing dog. Let's do the other side. Left leg lifts, hip opens. Drop that foot behind you and start to spin on your supporting arm. Once it faces into the center, adjust the other arm and find yourself back in wheel. Reverse your steps, so turn the fingertips in, spot and spin, and return back to downward facing dog. To get more comfortable with the mechanic of spinning on our hands, let's work through hand walks. Shift the shoulders side to side and walk the hands into various degrees of external rotation. Start with the fingertips forward. Walk the hands out to your right and your left hand side. And then back into external rotation. Body is shifting from side to side as you do this drill. From a kneeling position, plant your left hand behind you and lift your hips, spotting the ground. Return to a seated kneel and plant your right hand behind you, lifting your hips and extending the sweeping arm overhead. Camel sweeps familiarize us with spiraling into back bends and spotting the ground. From high plank, move into a side plank and stabilize your bottom arm. Pick up your top leg and drop it back behind you, moving you into a back bend position. Rotate back around. Try your side plank on the other side, stabilizing bottom arm, and flip the top leg behind you, moving into your spinal extension or back bend position. Let's try that now from downward facing dog. Lift your hips into your A shape, pick up your right leg, open the hip, and drop the leg behind you. Once the right arm lifts, move back into downward facing dog. Lift the opposite leg, drop it back behind you, and again, move back into downward facing dog. Continue to try this from side to side until you feel more confident working through the hand spiraling or rotation into your wheel position. Our last drill is a block modified wheel position. Take your blocks at an angle, positioning them on your mat and up against a wall. Give them a couple of wiggles to make sure that they're not going to slip because you're going to be back bending with them. Lay back, position your hands onto the blocks, and make sure that they feel secure. Press into your feet, lift up your hips like bridge pose, and then press into the blocks and lift into your wheel pose. As you can see in the mirror to my right-hand side, this is a much less intense degree of back bend for me. My wrists are actually at about a 45-degree angle away from my shoulders, so I can really just focus on working through my hips instead of worrying about my wrists. Try holding yourself up for as long as feels comfortable, and bring yourself down when you're ready. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know if you have any transitions you would like to learn. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I'll see you next time on your mat.